Now then, Rolf Harris and the young generation were big-time Saturday night entertainment. We didn't know it, but they were about to bring electronic music to the kids of the world.
I saw on the Radio Times a picture of Rolf Harris right on the front of the Radio Times, a cover. And I tried being nice to his agent, I tried being nice to everybody, didn't get anywhere, so I phoned up the BBC and I said, this is an internal call, where is Rolf rehearsing, please? And they gave me the address. And I walked over to Rolf, who was standing at the piano, and I said, hello, Rolf. He said, hello, and he knew me, he didn't know me at all. And I said, what do you think of that? And I put it into his hand, and he said, what is it? And I took it back and I played it. He said, yeah, smashing, I like that. And he started to play it, I couldn't get it away from him.
It just so happened that I'd repaired a toy piano for my niece. The hammers on the keys had broken off and I replaced them with contacts and some electronics and a loudspeaker and a battery and turned it into an electronic organ. And I thought, well, it's a monophonic instrument, it plays one note at a time, so really you could actually make the keys as part of the circuit board. And, then you could put it into a cabinet and just have a stylus, little cabinet, and you've got yourself an instrument. And I looked up at Bert, and he was sort of looking at me with his mouth open. And he said, well, don't just sit there, make the bloody thing.
The phone rang, and it was Rolf on the phone. And he said, has it been on television before? I said, well, no, it hasn't, but it's going on the Frost programme. He said, don't put it on the Frost programme, ITV then, give it to us.
The song we're going to do, he said, hopefully. Switch it on, everybody, will you? Yeah, I forgot to switch mine on yesterday. The song we're going to do is one from the hit parade called Gentle on My Mind. Let's go.
We had to work like crazy to build another 6 stylophones by hand for the young generation, because we only had one. After that, the rest is history. That's how Stylophone got onto the market.
Recognise this? One of the first tunes I ever played on Stylophone. Stylophone, the unique musical instrument anyone can play. The Stylophone pocket electronic organ by Dubrec.
Here, you guys and gals, tell you something. Rolf didn't know what he'd started. That little organ is still being played by trendy types like Pulp and Orbital.
It's something I used to borrow from my older brother Gary, who he had the Stylophone of our house. And I ended up with it. I don't know how, like the youngest child always ends up with the things, the cast off. So yeah, it's been sat in my cupboard for years, but I mean, we always used to play with it when we were little. So, it's a great fun thing to have around.
Now, on Top of the Pops, it's David Bowie.
I was watching Top of the Pops one evening, and David Bowie was just introducing Space Oddity. Then I looked down, he had a stylophone in his hand, and he did the run on where he leads up to the spaceship taking off or something. And I thought, crumbs, that's fantastic, and I'll find out if he's interested in doing something with us. And he said yes, he was, and made a photo session. And then he told us that he'd written Space Oddity on the Stylophone.
Though I'm lost 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very scared, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much.
Hey, things never change. The Stylophone was being used by all sorts of top pop stars 30 years ago, and young bands are still at it today.
The track style, I mean, it came about from being sort of creatively frustrated one morning, and it's a Friday morning. It's like, what can I do? Saw the Stylophone, sat on the shelf. Right, you're coming with me to the studio. I mean, the first half of it is all actually, every sound is made up from a sample from a stylophone in one form or fashion.
1970. What a year!